When's the last time you were rejected? If it wasn't within 24 hours ago, you are not living your life properly. Anybody who does anything worth a damn gets rejected, probably hourly. If you don't appreciate that, it's because you're not living your life appropriately. There are billions of people in this world. Almost none of them like you. Almost none of them will support you, ever. Almost none of them will approve of anything you've ever done. You will be insignificant and absolutely less than nothing to the overwhelming majority of people that walk this earth. So why the hell would you be afraid of rejection? I'll tell you why. Because you live in your own head. You are your own toughest critic. And I can provide really, I would say, exceptional insight to this subject because I've been in the world of theater, TV, and film since I was about 15. I'm 38 now. So I have about 2 decades of getting rejected daily. And people don't realize this, but one of the things as a performer, one of the things you get paid to do is to analyze words and to analyze what somebody wrote and try to figure out not just the context that's obvious that they wrote, but what is the subtext underneath every word that's written. Because a good writer means something by every little word they write. And what makes the scene exceptional is when somebody can bring those words to life and produce this overwhelming, intense emotion that has urgency under everything that's written. And that's what creates drama, and that's what creates good entertainment. And that is exactly like life. Nothing anyone tells you ever is exactly what they mean. There's always some subtext to what they're saying. And when you deal with women, it's going to be even more covertly threaded with subtext, right? Because women communicate indirectly and they expect you to get it. Men are more direct. That being said, there's still going to be underlying subtext to what they're saying, and there is cultural manners and social expectations about what's acceptably said to people and what's not acceptable. So think about that, because even if somebody says they don't like you, even if somebody isn't mean to you, even if somebody maybe just kind of puts you off, that is the rejection, right? So every time you put anything you've done out there and it doesn't lead to what you expected it to, that is rejection. The medium is the message, as Rollo Tomassi says. You don't have to ask somebody to tell you what they're thinking. Their behavior says it all. And people who support you, people who don't reject you, you will never have to second guess them supporting you because their behavior does it. If someone's into you, they'll jump through hoops to be with you. It's very simple. And the problem is most people look at life like it's a puzzle. Where it's like, well, this isn't really working out the way I expected. Maybe if I just tweak this and tweak that, I can get the, desired outcomes that I want with this person, whether it's through business, whether it's a relationship, and that doesn't really work. I mean, it can lead to moderate results, but in terms of what you're actually doing with your life, if it's great, it doesn't need every last little detail to be tweaked and perfect, right? If it's what somebody wants, they will do whatever they can to get it, and it doesn't matter how put together or refined or polished the end result is or the product that you're selling. If it's a great product, whether it's a great piece of art, whether it's a great book, whatever, people will look past things like typos. People will look past things like formatting errors. People will look past things like, poor imagery, I mean, one of the things that in entertainment that people won't look past is bad sound, but that's because you're like, it's physically uncomfortable for them to be in it. That's a different story. But going back to rejection, one of the phrases that helped me when I was younger, that a gentleman gave me advice, his name is Will Wallace, he's like a mentor to me. He said, water off a duck's back, man. Everything in this world, just water off a duck's back. You can't take anything personally. And if you do take things personally, you're giving power to other people, right? Because if you look at language, somebody can curse you out in a foreign language that you don't understand, and you're just going to laugh. Like, why is this guy so animated? Meanwhile, he's like saying the worst things that he could ever say about you in his language, and he means them. But to you, it's comical because you can't understand him, and he looks silly. Now, if it's a language you understand, and someone says those things, then all of a sudden your perception of those words and your assessment of that person's psychological state and the intent, you see how fucked up someone has to be to say that to you, then all of a sudden that has an effect on you. So you're perceiving an environment based on words, based on rejection, and then you're letting that destroy you. And if you want to ever do anything worthwhile in this life, you can't do that. You got to be able to take rejection and just assume that you are going to get rejected, and you need to succeed or thrive or complete your task in spite of being rejected. You can't give a shit. And I see this play out with like intersexual dynamics as well. And it's like your inability to take rejection and be indifferent is fucking up your productivity. And so that's a real problem if like you want to get women, but you can't take rejection, you can't run numbers, you can't run game, if you don't have charisma, if you can't be yourself, if you can't be arrogant, if you can't be a little bit braggadocious, confident, and actually perform. Like I ran the table on this girl in pool last night, right? I made every single ball in before the game was over. Then I won. And that led to just like me, like, you know, flirting with her. I deserve a victory kiss for that performance, you know? And sure, and I got it. And one thing leads to another, and so you win. You just keep winning. But then that same person might not want to be with you, or might not find a good match. So you can't sit there and go, oh, what did I do wrong, or what's wrong with me, yada, yada, yada. You just got to remember that you are not right for everybody. You are not right for most people. And if everybody supported you, you'd never fail. So embrace being in the moment and enjoying it. Enjoy the victory. Don't give a shit about whether people reject you or accept you. You've got to do what you've got to do. Whether people receive what you're doing is not up to you, and that's the thing that's out of your control that you can't worry about. What you can worry about is what you actually produce, the content you put out there, and the quality of that content. You can control how you think, how you feel, and how you behave. And if you can't learn to be indifferent and just do your thing in spite of all the fucking noise, in spite of all the Karens in the comments, in spite of all the fucking people who have no lives and, like, you know, cling to you like those sucker fish on sharks, I mean, you gotta fucking win. You gotta just win for yourself. And by winning, I mean take fucking action and do what you want to do. Don't give a fuck about what anyone else cares about you. And I'm not saying like inability to take rejection, like someone can mouth off to you and you don't have to say anything back. You just gotta take it like a bitch. I'm not talking about that. You can say whatever you want to say to somebody if they run their mouth to you, or you can remain silent. Sometimes it's best to just mute somebody, and you know, that eats them alive, knowing that you'll never see anything they do again. So you just got to think about what kind of outcome you want, because sometimes when you engage people who reject you, it spirals or turns into like a snowball that doesn't really get you the results that you want professionally or personally. So it's better to just stay silent. But some people, that eats them alive, and they're like, fuck that, I gotta let this person have a piece of my mind. That's up to you. Just know that there's always going to be consequences, and your ability to let water fall off your back like a duck's, that is crucial. And the older I get, the more that comes into play. So get out there, get rejected, and if you're not getting rejected at least once a day, you have failed life. Have an amazing afternoon. I'll see you when I see you.